Joining me now from Southern California, Mayor of Coronado, California, Richard Bailey. Mayor, I got to ask you, do you have a commemorative mask? Did the mayor of Los Angeles send you down a commemorative mask so you can remember what may be one of the darkest periods in American history?
Hi, Graham. No, to date, I have not received a commemorative mask for anyone. Although I have to say, I have received some masks from some of our Coronado locals here that took it upon themselves to make some and send them my way out of a friendly courtesy.
And they mean well, right? Yeah, and
They
you
mean well.
accept them. They mean well, but do they really maybe see the big picture that you and I see here? And I don't know if you see the picture that I see, but do you really see a singular mission regarding health, or do you see underlying a subplot here, if you will, that is very, very political?
I think that more than anything else right now, we need to be focusing on policies that are based on common sense and based on the data. And it is unfortunate that we're seeing politicians that are trying to, make this issue a partisan issue, when really, if we just focused on the data and the advice from our medical officials, I think we'd be much further ahead on a new normalcy or getting back to normal.
For folks who don't know, and shame on them if they don't know, Coronado is largely a tourist town. Other than North Island Naval Air Station, which obviously brings in a lot of dollars to your city, you rely on tourism. It's a rather bucolic, lovely Americana little town, especially around 4th of July. I highly recommend it. Can you quantify the damage, though, that your small city in San Diego County has sustained so far? Is there any way to quantify it?
On the city financial side of things, tourism drives about 35% of our local revenue, and that's just what ends up in the cities. For the city financials, from the tax on tourists and the sales tax they pay. So that part's pretty easy to quantify. But what's difficult to quantify is the number of businesses that will undoubtedly go out of business the longer these economic restrictions are in place, the number of our local employees that no longer have a job, that are desperate to work. And so those more human elements are impossible to quantify.
The economic anchor, if you will, for your city is the Hotel del Coronado. And for folks who like a little bit of history, this is where the movie in 1959, Some Like It Hot, was shot, with Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Marilyn Monroe. A wonderful movie if you haven't seen it. As mayor, though, you look at something like this just wasting away. Hopefully it's going to reopen rather soon. How much autonomy do you have in a situation like this where, you've been at odds a little bit with the county of San Diego? Do you have a lot of autonomy, being that I believe you're an unchartered city, correct?
We are an unchartered city. That is correct. The way it works for the states and the counties, at least here in California, is that the state public health officer is responsible for setting the minimum restrictions that apply statewide. And each county's public health officer can take it upon themselves to impose more stringent restrictions than the state of California, but they can't impose less strict restrictions. And then when it comes to the cities, it's up to the county how much discretion a city has. And so that's why it's so important for mayors from around the entire region, wherever you live, to work together and to push back on some of these health policies that are inconsistent and arbitrary in nature. And one of them that you're alluding to has been applying to Coronado beaches, bays, and oceans.
And you feature out in front of the Hotel Del and other areas one of the finest beaches probably in America, maybe in the world. It's a very flat, kind of long, a lot of sand that people can enjoy. And you've effectively gone back and forth, have you not, with the county of San Diego, and the county at one point shut down beaches, and you said, hey, listen, I'm the mayor of the city. I want my beaches open. They said, no, you got to shut it down. Your beaches are back open now?
They're back open now. And yes, this is in large part due to a grassroots campaign that we began, where we didn't focus specifically on Coronado. We just focused on, once again, common sense and asking the question, hey, if walking on a sidewalk is safe, why isn't walking on the beach? If running on the sidewalk is safe, why can't we surf in the ocean or kayak in the bay? And so asking these simple questions to highlight the arbitrary nature of these policies, to highlight the inconsistencies, really struck a nerve with people throughout our entire county. And through that, we mobilized a coalition that asked that question of our county officials. And I'm pleased to say, as of Monday of this week, they allowed these beaches and bays and oceans to be reopened.
Not only is your beach beautiful, any beach really is beautiful. In this country, it seems to me the beaches, the coastline, is a symbol of freedom. And with people being pent up in their homes and these stay-at-home orders for what we're coming up on a couple of months here, they need to get out and recreate. And oh, by the way, it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to buy a couple of tacos while they're in Coronado and infuse some money into the system, into those businesses of yours that are starving right now.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, this really comes down to the question for the politicians of whether or not you trust the American public. And if you trust the American public, then you trust they're going to make decisions that are in their own best health interests, which, I trust the American public can go to the beach and maintain proper social distancing. I trust the American public and business owners throughout the country that they can safely reopen their business, because no one has a greater incentive for the protection of their employees and customers than respectable and responsible business owners. So, ultimately, I trust the American public is going to do the right thing, and it's incumbent upon all of us to give them the opportunity to do so.
Now, you're a California boy. You went to school at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, about 400 miles north of where you are, 300 miles north of where you are right now. The reason I bring that up, Mayor, is because this is an interesting example of what is going on in California that doesn't make sense to me. And that is San Luis Obispo County has 166 confirmed cases of the Wuhan coronavirus and 1 confirmed death. It seems to me that the folks at the county level and the city level need to be looking at their communities and making decisions based on what's going on in their community, because what goes on in SLO is vastly different than what is going on in Los Angeles or in Santa Clara counties. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I'd go one step further and say it's even more different than what's going on in New York City. And if you remember from the very beginning, the purpose of these restrictions was not to stop the spread of the virus. It was to slow the spread of the virus and to flatten the curve. Here in San Diego County, we have approximately 300 to 350 COVID-19 patients within our hospital system right now, occupying hospital beds, but we have about 7,000 hospital beds countywide. Our hospitals are so slow right now that many nurses and doctors are having their shifts canceled.
Right.
So by all objective measures, we've successfully flattened the curve. We have excess capacity in our hospitals here at the region. So yes, we do need to take a region by region approach.
The surge that never happened, effectively, of what you're saying. And I think what you're also saying in a very political way is, hey, let's get back to life. Let's get back to work as long as it makes healthy sense. And I think that that is what every politician ought to be saying right about now. Mayor Bailey, thank you.
Public. Absolutely. Thank you, Graham.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.